All right, Henry McClure live. This is actually take two. I found out that I had some of my dinner. I was eating alone, and nobody could tell me that I had a smudge on my face. Okay, so let's just talk about the treasure real quick. I think that you can't blame the debacle on Larry Ma. You can't. And but you could blame it on him for saying or for not doing anything. And what could he do? Well, he could talk to the legislature. He could go talk to um, his friends in the legislature and say, here, I've got kind of an unusual situation. Uh, the county councilor and the planning commission, um, or the county commissioners, aren't bringing forward uh, a case of delinquent taxes, and I'm neutered and I can't do anything about it. So he could he could come up with change. I mean, you can't just you're talking to a salesman. No means maybe. So I don't ever know how to take no for an answer. No. Okay. That just revs me up to figure out how to get to yes or work around the problem. What's the workaround? How are we going to work it out? So um, the answer is number one, it's the county commissioner's fault that they didn't pressure the lawyer. You could say it's the lawyer's fault for not pressuring the county commission, but that isn't the way it works here. So you can't really blame um, the lawyer. You can the lawyer that you do blame is Kevin Cook. The guy that hands out children's book. What a schmuck. Kevin just is above the rules and he just thinks he's the smartest guy known to man. He may be a lot smarter than me. You never know. But I've made more deals than he'll ever make in his lifetime. And why is making deals significant? Because it's my deals put people in business. My people went into business. The majority of them are retailers. Uh, I had a lot of involvement with the General Motors lease down in Tampa. We took a 1.3 million foot mall and we converted into a high tech office park. So it's defining government's role, and it's to get out of the way. We got to have a safe place to live, and we've got to have good infrastructure. But I'm going to tell you, the way they're doing economic development has put me out of business personally. So I'm going to take on the role. I'll do it full time. So for $60,000, you save $3.5 million and go to Topeka. Over my lifetime, I've forgotten more about real estate than they'll ever know. And that's a fact. The way it's structured today, if you're coming to Topeka, you talk to the mayor, you talk to the chamber, and you've got to deal with Go Topeka. And so if I've got a deal and they're never going to approve my deals, it's futile. They put me out of business. So I don't need a real estate license. I should, why it's a waste of time to try to do real estate deals here. So what I will do is I'll engage the real estate community and make it to where my brethren can do business. My brothers and sisters of the real estate business, that will create an even playing field. And that's why I'm going to retire my license and do other things. I'm going to work on my media company, work on the Glass Houses studio here. We want to add an internet radio station to the business. But what I'm telling you, I'm going to continue to dig and find out everything I need to know about why this city hasn't grown since I was born July 13th, 1959. And it's pretty simple. And it starts with breaking up the Greater Topeka Partnership's chokehold on the community. So we can do away with Go Topeka. That puts $5 million in the coffers. We can relocate Visit Topeka. And I'm telling you, I've got a way to get Lawrence Bay done. I promise you, it's about ready to all come out. But so when it comes to this issue of the treasurer's responsibility, yeah, he is responsible. His job is to collect the taxes. And Kevin Cook, saying the city, if he wanted the city to actually foreclose on his behalf, well, he never asked the lawyer to do it. Amanda Stanley, she said, well, they've never asked us to do it because Kevin can't do it because of the $120,000 law firm retainer he gets from the city to be the public defender. And which is really going to bring up one last point. I'm going to get this in before I go to bed. So Kevin wants to merge the planning departments, which is a perfect time to then put the planning commissions back, the ones that Vic Miller destroyed. But so to have a metropolitan planning commission. But what's really interesting, he's going all Ronald Reagan on us the other day. It was funny. Well, we got to trust but verify. And it might be a little late for Kevin Cook to go Republican. But so Mr. Trust but Verify, this is interesting. So if he's going to merge the planning departments, think about this for a second. So the city's planning director was hired by Steve Wade, she came from Go Topeka, and her mom is Jim Midwest Health Director of Real Estate. And just that alone, just the fact that that's her mom, well, that gives her a lot of, she'd probably be better in economic development than she would be being the planning director. Well, here's the real catch to it. So the city and county both have directors of planning that don't have any idea anything about planning. The Joni's the nicest person ever. She's born on July 13th. I think the world of her, and I think the world of her husband. They're great people. But is it a coincidence that he's a judge and the public defender would probably have cases with this judge, and then he gives that judge wife a job? It's the tangled web of Topeka, Kansas. And I think that's what's going to make fun being the Henry McClure live show. It's like Peyton Place, baby. I like that one country song. Here we go. Here, hang on here. Let's get this going. Everywhere you look, you can write a book on the trouble with a woman and a man, but you cannot impose. You can't stick your nose into something that you don't understand. Oh, man. and that's Topeka, Kansas. You know, um, one incestuous pay to play, but we're going to change it. We are going to change it. We'll get Brett Blackburn in. Brett Blackburn's a fourth generation Topekan, 85 years Blackburn Nursery being around. There isn't a harder worker than Brett Blackburn, except Susie Blackburn for being married to Brett Blackburn. But they're a beautiful couple. I enjoy their company. Every time we're together, we're laughing about something, mainly them laughing at me, and that's okay. And Blackie's one of those guys, during my drinking days, a part of my alcoholic, what the alcoholic journey, you know, Blackie was, lecturing me from time to time. Oh, wow. Wonder if he'll go live. You're live on the Henry McClure live show.
Hey, are those signs for Blackie once that you painted there?
Well, did you see, what do you mean?
Like the green and the white. Did you do those?
Well, you are live on the show. You know that, right?
Well, I get that. Can I ask that on the Henry McClure live?
Yes, you can. You can.
About your new sign company?
Yeah, Henry McClure and the sign company. They've taken away my business. So what I did, and I got, so are you talking about the 4x8 that I made?
There's a 4x8 and there's all these like yard signs.
Oh, Blackie had all his signs. Those were already made. He had them in the garage.
Oh, I see. I was like, man, that's turned out really good for painting.
No. I haven't done that yet. But you can see we've got some signs. I'm trying to get a hold of Ty Masterson for you.
Yeah,
I emailed him.
You emailed him?
Yeah. Hey, Blackie also has got a bed liner. One of those, it's like a tool chest you put in the back of your truck.
Oh, but it has like it's like a full rollout.
Yeah, the full thing rolls out. He'll give it to you.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, are you interested in that?
Yeah.
Okay, he wants to give it to you if you're going to use it. He doesn't want you to give it to you and flip it.
I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't sell it.
Okay, so we'll. Are you down at the building?
Yeah, I'm at the building.
All right. Well, did you raise any? How was Worlds of Fun?
It was good. It was good to spend time with the family. We do that every year for my dad's birthday. So pretty good.
Well, that's good. I had a good church today at God's Storehouse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I've been running around all day. Went out to Blackie's farm and picked up all those signs. And I was doing a show to. I just hate sitting down typing, and so I'd rather make a video and post it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I've almost got a plan of how to. I'll run this by you later, so then I can steal all your ideas, and the public won't know that it's you that really had them. No, but I'm thinking about how to do. And here, let's just talk about it now.
Okay.
So let's take. Oh, and what's really crazy today is I talked to Gene Yanni.
Really?
The original developer. Yeah, I saw Jeff Preisner. Had lunch with Jeff real quick, and all of a sudden while we're there, Gene Yanni calls, and he's the original developer of Lawrence Bay.
Yeah.
So my idea today, and Blackie's been it's like you know how it is with me. I got to make it my idea, but I steal everybody's ideas. At least I'm honest about it. But that's a
Yeah.
smart thing. What you do is you surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
So, and what's really prompted this is, Mike Halligan asking some tough questions because when he was in code compliance, it was interesting to hear his input about from code compliance and what it was like to deal with Jim Klossman.
Yeah.
And, we need the Jim Klossmans of the world, but, it's like I've selected my clients in the real estate business because of their net worth, right?
Yeah.
They can pay the bills. I'm going to get paid.
Well, they already got the scratch. You got to get them in the game.
Right. So there isn't any reason we can't be figuring out a way. So let's just take the overall benefit district and we got to foreclose. The county would have to foreclose on all the properties. But what I'd like to do, and I told Blackie, I said, you might want to have to go talk to Jim Klossman. but I will definitely he said I can't call him anymore, but he didn't say I couldn't stop by the office. Well, maybe that's calling personally. But I could also just mail him the idea or email it to him. But the idea would be to take the original benefit district and refinance it. Okay? And then we'll sell all the lots out there, and then we'll use that to buy down the benefit district, the new benefit district.
So the payments are back to what they were supposed to be.
Well, they'll be lower overall because there's some of them have been paid down. But then we will create an area, and we'll have an interlocal agreement that of how the whole thing will get executed. But we zero out all the fees and startup costs, and we create some sort of incentive for people to get it built within a year. The main thing is to get them all to the tax rolls. If you're one of the centers of any of those LLCs, you can't go back out and buy them. You lost your right to own them.
Yeah.
Or some sort of way. I mean, you'd hate it.
Well, I think if they were to pay the new price off, here's if they bought them. So
yeah, I get that too. You can't. It's like okay, you get out of jail free. Just don't break the law again.
Yeah, everybody gets a second chance.
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm for that. I got a second chance.
Yeah.
So
ain't on second chances.
But create a district, and what I really want to know, and then here's the deal: it's an open listing, and we engage every real estate person.
Yeah, get them sold.
Yeah, engage. It's an open listing to every realtor in Shawnee County. But another thing I want to do is Shawnee County residents get first shot.
So then you get homes built by Shawnee County people for Shawnee County people.
Yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, Shawnee County first.
Keeping on the Shawnee County first theme.
Yeah.
Because that's what we really got to do.
It's like when we were talking about the jobs and the incentives. Yeah, we brought these big businesses here, but we had no guarantee. Nobody wanted to tie down having a certain percentage of jobs be for Shawnee County people.
Boy, that's what Blackie, that's what I really, I got to get Blackie into office. And we got to get you into office. I'm so, I hate to say proud of you because I look at you as an equal because I don't know that I just don't know that I'm 65. Hey, if you're getting old, get young friends. But
the youngest friends I have.
well, I don't want to get condescending in any way, but man, it's inspiring to see a young man take the bull by the horns and say, "Look, I'm going to make it better for me and my kids today." You know, you're a good builder. I'm. You've done a good job. You've made a yeoman's effort at Agape Village. I think that your choice of the new president of Agape Village was good, and you know you did it a lot of. I mean, Mary Thomas has got to be an endorser of yours. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, she's friends with Vic's wife, and so I think she's kind of staying out of it a bit.
Yeah.
She does like when we've talked about it. She thinks it's good to them. So it's not. And with having a nonprofit and having her hands kind of in on city run stuff like that, you know.
Well, she manages $1 million for the county and only charges like 40 grand.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, she, you know, she stays out of, I think, a lot of the political mix nowadays. You know, she used to be a county commissioner, but I think she stays out of it because she needs friends everywhere.
Yeah.
And politics is the easiest way to make friends and lose friends. And in her mind, and I love the way she thinks. You know, everybody has something to offer. Everybody's valuable. Everybody's got insight, and so she doesn't want to lose those connections. She wants to stay involved. She wants to be the person that can keep the peace, and she wants to be the person that can help people succeed. So I understand when you're in that point of view, stepping back a little.
Well, and the thing about Topeka, it's a blessing and a curse, it being so small. And the curse is when you get on different sides. So here's my new theory. I don't know if I told you, but you know, you're born perfect. Then I really became a Republican due to that's what my family was, and we were, you know, we were independent. But you know, my dad being a lawyer and my stepdad being an insurance agent, they're more independent people, and you know, I voted for Ross Perot. I never growing up since 18, I wanted to vote in anything I could, and I never really voted the party line because that wasn't the way we grew up. Yeah. We grew up, well, if our friend over here is a good guy and he has a different political background, it didn't matter. You know, but today I identify as an American. I want to think about like what it took to be like a founding father. Could you imagine that? But when I take the test online, I test out a libertarian. So smaller government, lower taxes. And the whole thing I've been trying to convey to the world, and I get so caught up in myself, is that inaction is worse than a bad idea.
Yeah, I think it's the whole complacency. One of our biggest things that we can do for our country and for our futures and everything is just to get out. And it's not about political elections. Now, luckily, you know, I think I've got a really good chance at the primary. I feel very confident. So the ballot that we're going to be on is a presidential election ballot. So that turns out the most amount of voters. But the problem is every election should pop out voters. And everybody should be able to vote. It's a waste to not use one of your biggest parts of freedom to distinguish yourself on the points you want to make and your stances and who you want to be helping run this country. You know what got me in a conversation today is it's not always about somebody's back. You know, you vote somebody in their values.
Hey, can you get your phone?
Yeah, can you hear me better?
Yeah, you got to get like consistent. Are you juggling around on your chin?
No, I'm just talking, but I'm walking because I pace when I'm on the phone. So I'll keep it closer. But you know, it's not just about voting for somebody on their morals and beliefs. That's one of the biggest things. But you also got to look at how is that person going to act in a crisis? Because the first time that a crisis hits, those are the people that are first in action. They're the people that are calling the shots. They're the ones making an effort to change things. So you got to look at who can keep a cool, calm, collected head and still make good decisions under a lot of stress and a crisis. And so it's very interesting to look at that. So you look at people's character, and you got to look at who they are and who they've been and who they've shown themselves to be. And usually, most of the time, those are your neighbors. Those are the people that you have respect for. Those are the people that helped you out in a hard time. And so what people don't realize is that local elections are even more important than federal elections because those are the ones that affect your backyard. The same person that can help you mow your backyard when you have a broken leg is the same person that's going to help you keep your backyard from being stolen from the federal government. So you know you want to keep local elections important. You want to get voters out there for local elections, and you want to be able to have your neighbors as politicians. You know, you don't want career politicians. You want the day-to-day guy that's going through the same struggle, that has the passion. Because the problem is, and this is what I commend Blackie for, is getting out of city council after he.
You know, I think we're going to have to start referring to him as Brett Blackburn for the voters' sake.
Oh yeah, Brett Blackburn. So the reason one of the reasons I really respect Brett is the fact that you know he got everything done that he wanted. So he didn't want to just drag it on for no reason. He was passionate. He got in there, did what he wanted, trimmed the fat, held up to his promises, and run again. You know, and you know, you don't make a lot of friends in there, but politics isn't always about. It's not about having the friends. It's about getting in there, getting done what you're for the people you're meaning to represent, and that you're brought forward to represent, and getting the job done and getting out of there. You know, nobody should be a career politician. You're not getting in this. I don't want to do this the rest of my life.
No, I don't think the founding fathers ever fathomed being having that be a full-time job.
Well, look at.
A career.
Yeah, look at George Washington, right? He didn't want to be president. He fought him. He didn't want to do it, but he was the guy that they saw handle the crisis the best. They wanted him to step up because he's the guy that they saw time and time again step up to handle the crisis at hand. Cool, calm, and collected. He could lead, and that's what they wanted. He didn't want to be a politician. He didn't want to be a president. He just wanted to help. He just wanted to help establish. He was there from the beginning. That's what he wanted. And, you know, he got brought forward, and that's how I feel in this election. This isn't what I wanted to, but I do feel like there's a duty, and I need to be there. So, go ahead.
Well, can I reel it in for just a second?
Yeah.
So, while the state is contemplating and going to lock us down and mandates to wear masks, I rebelled, and you know, I threw the tea in the bay, and trying to get a tea party analogy, but we held a meeting for alcoholics and drug addicts, and to me, it's all the same. You know, NA and AA. You know, I think alcohol's the gateway drug, but regardless, we held a meeting. Now, you could wear a mask if you wanted to. You could social distance if you wanted to. You could just come to the meeting and be you. And for 97 days in a row, every night at 8:00, we held a meeting. And we called it Fight Club because we didn't want you know, I thought it was kind of a cool name. You don't talk about Fight Club, but now I want to talk about Fight Club
Yeah.
because I've had people come up to me and say, Fight Club saved my life. And I wrote a letter to Laura Kelly saying, this lockdown is wrong. So if I were sitting there as a county commissioner, I'm not going to lock you down and I'm not going to make you wear masks. And Kevin Cook did, and so did Aaron Mays, and they're not qualified to be making those decisions. It's like it's like Kevin Cook handing me that children's book, because he doesn't think I'm smart enough to do anything. But I've gambled a lot of my resources in trying to develop Topeka. I can show you the benefit districts I did and the other projects I've done, the deals on the table. But I've been neutered by the government. The government has put me out of business. If the government is going to have the outsiders that go to Topeka in the chamber control the economic development money, so they can dole it out to who they want, when they want, not even give me the opportunity to pitch deals. Hell, I should love Jim Klossman. I asked him to help me with the hotel deal down there, the Travelers, and he got me into the meeting. But you still got to step up. But I actually think I got a deal out at Lawrence Bay that will work for everybody, because I don't want Spencer Duncan running the land bank. I don't want the city of Topeka. I don't want the city of Topeka encroaching any more on our rights.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox.
It's all good. I think it's important when you're a very important part about all this is making sure that you're representing your people. And your people aren't just the people you want to surround yourself with. Your people are the people in your district that you're representing.
Well, and at the time, the people were my drug addicts.
Yeah, I get that. I'm saying this is not just about the mask thing. This is just in general. It's based off of that topic. So it's very important to be involved in your district, in your community, and so that you have an overall feel of how people want things to be handled when those things come. People are always scared. People are always scared of something happening because of how media keeps us scared. Flip-flops things around, but the hot topics are always there. And if you listen to the people in your district, sometimes there's going to be where you have to make a call that you don't agree with, but it's what your district wants you to represent. And it's not always, we don't get into this. I'm not doing this for Tyler Weibel. I'm not doing this because I want to be a senator. I'm doing it for everybody in District 19. So what is the best for District 19? What is District 19 needing me to represent to make their lives better? So, it's based on, you're getting voted in by your morals and your standards, but your morals and your standards really have to be for representing those people. See, the thing is most people sit on that moderate line. And that, when I look at it, and I've said this time and time again, and I'll continue to say it, people want safety in their communities. People want better systems and set up, and they want to protect their kids. They want better school systems, and people want lower taxes, right? These are things that everybody wants. And if you ask on the Democrat side, the Republican side, they all want it. But it's about how you handle and how to do it. So you really can't scare away the moderates. And that's the problem, is they're the people that are most forgotten. And that's why they're the sway votes. And people only listen to them when elections come around because they want those sway votes. Hey, come to this side, come to this side. And they get forgotten in the day-to-day life. Most people are on a moderate platform. Most people are the middle of the road guys. They know their morals. They know where they stand, but they're not radicalists. And the radicalists are the squeaky wheels. They're the ones that always get the grease. They're the ones that are always attended to. But the moderates are the people that we really got to listen to, because that's your biggest your biggest base. And those are the people that sit there every time when election comes around and say their vote doesn't matter, and they don't think their vote matters because they're the ones that are forgotten about every time until voting season comes around. And I believe that 100%, 110%.
Well, I think you're spot on, and you really give people a lot to think about. You've got a lot of depth, um, and we we got some interesting things. Can we talk about your race, arm's length, real quick?
Yeah.
Let Well, you're in a primary, and when I was at the Greater Topeka Partnership, um, I didn't really catch your opponent's analogy of how you can not be for Donald Trump and be a Republican. I didn't really catch that.
So, you know, I don't. A big thing for me on this race is I don't want to talk down on anybody, but I will say in an informing manner on clarifying information. So I want to say that's where I'm coming from. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a drink of water. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so her point, the way that she is facing it, my opponent, her name is Cynthia Smith. It's just out there. It is what it is. That's her name. That's who she's running as, right? She used to, when they did their census last year, at the end of every year, they go through, they count up their people, they look at ballots, how people voted, they get their statistics. She was a Democrat at the end of last year. She changed over to Republican for this race. I imagine not thinking she was going to have a primary. It shoots her in for a good time victory. She's tried to run for stuff before. She has not been successful. I don't think she wants to put a lot of effort into it. I just think she wants to be out there and be seen. Say she's ran for things. Hey, I've been in politics since this time. I've been running for things. It looks good on a resume. I haven't heard much from her. I don't hear much about her. She doesn't get invited to the thing. She refuses to go to a lot of the GOP stuff. The things that she has been to, she's left early because she disagrees with a lot of the platform and what people have to say on that side, the side that she chose to run for. Now, that aside, she, during the Greater Topeka Partnership event, said that she considered herself a moderate Republican, and her views are how moderate Republicans should think. And she goes on to say that she does not believe she does not stand behind Donald Trump, and nobody that's a true Republican should stand for Donald Trump. He's not her guy. Now, that when you're running for the Republicans, when you're meant to represent the Republican Party in your race and the people you're surrounding yourself with, there's not going to be a Democrat that doesn't say they don't support Biden, and there's not going to be a Republican out there that says they don't support Trump. And it's just because in the presidential election, those are our candidates right now. Those are the people chosen. That's who we got. So if you're with your party and you're standing with the values of your party, that's who the majority of your party has chosen to run to represent your party for the presidential election. So you don't agree with that 100%, but you should back your group. You should back the people that are supposed to be backing you, the people that are supposed to share a majority of your values. Doesn't mean your values have to align with Trump's, but your values align with the people that are in your party, the people that are your constituents. Those are the people you're really supporting. So when you're looking at how she's answering this question, she's saying that she doesn't support her party. And, and that's how it feels when she gives this. The other thing is when, um, you know, when Sheriff Hill is over here talking about how he's been down to the border. This is a part that really got me. If you set the Trump thing aside, I understand there's a lot of people that don't like him. There's a lot of people that do. If you just set that aside, the part that got me the most is when she, you have a deep conversation with Sheriff Hill, and he's a very intelligent man. He's a great sheriff. He's in there for the people. He's in there for the right thing, and he goes down to the border because he sees the immigration problem here in Shawnee County and how it's being affected. And he's trying to figure out how to help, how to protect, where things are going wrong. And she just spits in people's faces at trying to protect our community by saying that it is just a conspiracy theory, that the border crisis is a conspiracy theory. And, illegal immigration, it doesn't matter which side you're on. If you liked Obama put a restriction on the border. This isn't unheard of.
I think Obama might have deported more people than any president in a long time.
And I do believe, I didn't want to say that because I don't know the statistics on it. I didn't want to be incorrect in my statements, but I do believe he has deported a large number, and I think he's one of the people that has deported the most. And with that, I don't think that's a party issue. The border is not a party issue. The border is a security, it's an America issue. So when you look at our national security, when national security has been an issue for both Democrats and Republicans throughout the histories of the United States, you can't just say that it's a border crisis. That doesn't align with any party.
Well, the one thing that really you can't skip over, because they always say, why didn't Trump finish it? Well, they took away his funding. And that's a shame. And I mean, they've got materials and everything down there to build the wall. And
they got the laborers.
Yeah, we can hire all the illegals that have come in.
Hey, well, I mean, or get some people some work visas and work on getting them here legally and help them build the wall.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There's got to be a solution, but you can't just do nothing.
Yeah, can't abandon it.
No, you can't abandon it. But now, you're very respectful and tactful about your opponent. Now, I want to tell you that. So we've got Vic Miller and then Shamika. Yes. Who Vic Miller actually didn't he approach her to drop out? Said it's not her time.
Yeah. He said there's a place and a time, and this is not your time.
Well, and I would like to follow up on that article. Our research department also found an article. I don't know how it showed up in Oklahoma, but then now I want to talk about Joan Wagner for a minute, because she's always been a dear friend of mine, and she's sponsoring the candidate, and I do want you to meet Joan. Joan appointed me to the Metropolitan Planning Commission when I first came back to Topeka, and I've always admired her and respected her. I think she was the last really powerful leader we had in the city of Topeka. And the fact that she was a Democrat, I didn't really care. It's like Clark Duffy. I never knew what Clark Duffy was. It didn't matter. He was like a brother to me.
And let's take a second. His wife is running for treasurer, right?
Yeah, and the part of the whole show beginning was, Susan Duffy's great. I'm going to vote for Angus. But here was the point where we were talking earlier. I was trying to answer a question for Mike Halgan. So if the treasurer doesn't have the power to the fact that the taxes aren't being collected, and this is something I want you, Senator Weibel, to look into. We need to be able to empower the treasurer in the counties, if the oversight of the county commissioners and the lawyers aren't to foreclose. I found it's right on the county website. It's really supposed to be 2 years is the policy.
So here's what I think a lot of this is stemming from, if I may.
Yeah.
The problem is qualified individuals, right? So when you're looking at a treasurer, you've got to hire somebody from the private side. When you're electing somebody, they got to be somebody that is fiscally responsible, understands how things are meant to be run, understands laws and taxes. They have to have a background in it. See, because they're the ones that are going to catch it. I'm not the guy that's going to run for treasurer. I run a business. I do well. I do my taxes. We look at these things. We understand laws. We understand tax credits, and we understand opportunity zones. And there's a lot of legalities that get into that, right? But
Right.
numbers guys like Brett Blackburn, right? Numbers guys like him are the ones that you want in positions to do those checks and balances. If there's no checks and balances because there's ill-qualified individuals in those positions, then who knows? I'm not going to know to look for those things. I'm not running as a treasurer because I don't know to look for those things. I hope that there's a person running that does know how to look for those things and watch out for these things. And when you have somebody in there that keeps bringing up problems and keeps finding solutions for it, that's when people are supported. They might not have the power written on paper, but they can have the power backed by the people that do have the power, which I do think is how that's meant to be supported, is qualified individuals that are then supported by the people of more power because they brought up a legitimate hole in the system or a legitimate problem that they're facing. So it's just like a department head, right? Look at the treasurer as a department head. They said they're looking over all the finances. Well, if you have a department head that sees a problem, well, they should be a department head, and you hired them because they're qualified, and you trust their judgment, and you trust them to look for these things to make things more efficient. Well, it's no different with the treasurer. And then when they find something, you look at it together, you evaluate it, and you support them in fixing the issue. The problem is not that the treasurer doesn't have the power. I think the treasurer has the power that they need. I think it's the qualified individuals that we're lacking in those positions, and then the people that are not giving them the support if they were qualified enough to understand it.
I think that we got to look at the statute, because I don't think the treasurer actually has the ability to force the issue. If the county commissioners don't engage the county counselor to foreclose on the property, but also too, the county counselor or the county commissioners could go to the deadbeat taxpayer and figure out how to make a deal, especially when it gets up to $8 million. It's not that the bond has failed. We, the taxpayers, are paying the freight.
Well, here's the thing. What my point is that has the treasurer themselves brought up the fact that this needs to be handled?
No. I haven't heard that from Larry once.
And that's my point.
Okay, but also too, you're kind of talking to him. He's elected. He's an elected official. So
yeah.
Does why was he reluctant to come forward and point this out, or not look, if it were me and I didn't like what the county commissioners are doing, he's elected by the people. I would go to I would go to an elected official in the state house and say, we need to change this. Right?
Yeah. Well, and that's where my whole thing is, elected or not. That we have a lot of elected officials that are not, that are not competent. We have a lot of ill-competent elected officials, right? People get in over their head. You hear it all the time. They admit to it being over their head in private meetings, but they don't tell the people that. Well, when you're facing these issues, if your whole reason for not bringing something up is the fear to not get reelected and losing a job, then you're not in it for the right reason. And that goes back to the points we talked about before. Shouldn't be in it to make a career out of it.
Well, yeah, and don't tell me there's work to be done. Here's the thing that I've been thinking about. I'm just so confused, because like oversaw I'm looking at Cook's. I'm just looking at Cook's campaign issue. Oversaw major restoration and preservation projects. Stormont Vale Event Center, Shawnee County Courthouse, Oakland Neighborhood Community Pool. I mean, isn't that kind of arrogant to say that overlooked it? You sat in a chair and voted yes.
Isn't that brought forward by the infrastructure committee?
Well, now this is county, and so I don't know. I don't know that process. Tell you the truth, but I just can't foresee, Kevin with a hard hat out there on site overseeing the actual renovation. So
yeah,
I just want to bring up, I want to bring up lockdowns and masks and $8 million in taxpayer subsidizing. I don't know. So it's all about trying to run a campaign and how you want to run it. And I'm a little more of a bull, and I probably ought to cool it a little, but I get revved up over it because it's impacted me financially.
Yeah.
And that's when when it hits your wallet,
it's personal.
Yeah, it's turned personal completely. But now we'll just flip-flop. We'll just change. So I'll do this full time. I'll give it a full time. I'll retire my license. I'll work on this full time for 4 years. Let's see where we go. But I think I've got to have said that I want to change enough. That at least my ideas are out there.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else on it. Anything particularly. Most of the time, I just answer your question.
All right. Well, then I'm going to sign off because I've been on an hour. It's a late show.
The late night show.
This is the late show. I want to come back and look at the signs. Did that big sign look good?
I saw all the green signs that you said he had those printed. So after you said that, I was going to go down and look for the one that you said.
Well, what I did is I took some of the small signs and glued them onto one of the 4x8s. You'll see it.
Okay, I did see that. So that's why I was wondering if you were painting them. So you glued that on.
Yeah, those are just glued. Well, I got a gallon of that glue and I took a little roller and rolled it on.
Was it just to try to make a 4x8 out of the little one?
Yeah, I think it's going to look good. I'm going to put that at 37th and Gage.
It's busy.
Well, so look, here's the thing about it. It's I've been a do-it-yourself guy. I'll get my signs made for my real estate company, but I'll install my own signs. I like being the guy that can wear jeans and work boots and have gloves hanging out of your back pocket. I like being that guy. It's like the Marlboro man without a cigarette. I want to be a worker guy, but we can be a worker guy. I've traveled so much for Mace Rich. I went everywhere. And like, if my friend Tim Gibbons is watching, he's always laughing at me because of the amount of money I used to spend traveling everywhere. But it didn't matter because wherever I'd go, I'd make deals and building relationships with people, finding people, the independent retailers, to go into our shopping malls so they wouldn't be afraid. The national deals were always easier to make because they knew they had to pay the rent and pay the freight. I just had to convince local people that we don't gouge them. The local people could probably end up getting a better deal no matter what.
When we sat down and had that fun just breaking down what you used to spend in travel and everything, Mace is too smart of a guy to not get the ROI on his investment in travel. You know what I'm saying? He got an ROI in everything he did. So any amount that you spent in travel, he knew he was going to get a return on. So, you spend a lot of money traveling, and yes, it's fun to joke about, but, there's not a time that Mace would say he didn't make money off of it.
Well, so let's say, how many times you see the chamber load people up in buses, and we're going to go over to Little Rock, and we're going to go here and there to see how they do it. Well, I lived in 11 different towns. The reason I got moved every time, except Greeley, May said I was getting a little stale in Greeley, but then he moved me to the flagship mall. But every time I moved, it was because I was successful. I got to move, and every time I got to travel and keep spending their money because I was successful at it. And there isn't anybody that has the commercial background today in Topeka, Kansas. And I'm going to give it now to the city, to the county, to our city, to the community for the fair price of $60,000. And I don't feel bad about it at all.
Well, you know what? When you think about the ROI on travel, that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. What is the ROI on the chamber travel? That alone should raise enough questions.
Well, let's forget the travel. Let's talk about the 14 people that, like, some of it's a couple of these dudes, it's their first job. The Greater Topeka Partnership is milking the taxpayers. It's just an arm of the chamber. And now Molly's doling out money, $1 million. And I'm going to make a new Cora request because I need more details. She gave me like a bullshit answer. There was not enough detail. I want the audited report. And but $3.5 million, and I'm taking it back to the whole thing for having economic development was to grow the population and lower the tax base. They didn't do it, so you're fired. But here's one thing I do want to say about my upbringing with Mace. I think he was 10 times the real estate guy that Donald Trump was. They were just completely different people. But I learned real estate from what I would say is the lion of the industry. So the mall business is mature, and he goes in and he starts buying malls from like the original owners, and they're getting a little stale, and we renovated them. We released them. We put power into them. And Mace Siegel and Dana K. Anderson were by far the best real estate guys in the mall business that I've ever met. Yeah, Mel Simon, they did things differently, and Art Coppola was the one who ruined the Macerich Company because just his ego and he just thought he was too powerful. But um, the Macerich Company, because Mace got to the point where he wanted to do different things and have a private life, and um, he moved on. Dana Kay was with the Macerich Company for 58 years. And so what I've got to offer the voters is it's several lifetimes of energy and deals inside me over a 44-year career of real estate. And I'm happy to move on as far as my license goes. And man, I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, it's always good. I'll do more of them.
I really would like Marshall Barber to be a part of the your question and answers. Because actually, I think Marshall's a better MC than me. I think that when we do the Topeka Factor, I'm a big distraction to him.
I guess, well, he's got a lot of experience.
Man, he does. He's a real solid citizen. So I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to tune it. I'm going to say goodnight to the audience, and thanks for the call in.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Later,
all right. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
Tyler Weibel, District 19, Senator Weibel. That's like Bible with a W. I'm live. Who's ever watching, I love you.